Greetings from my Luke Roper 1819 strip to commemorate Thursday's third anniversary of the greatest day of my life game, which was pretty great. And wouldn't you know it, Aston Villa celebrated themselves with a thorough and comprehensive victory at Elland Road. And you know the last time that Aston Villa won 3 Premier League games in a row without conceding? December of 2009. This is history. We need to savor and celebrate these moments as the momentum ball starts to roll. And to do that, for the greatest day of my life game, it's got to be Irish whiskey, no? This is Jameson. It's reliable. It's dependable. It's consistent. It gets the job done. Let's review, let's savor, and let's rehash. Leeds United 0, Aston Villa 3. Welcome inside the parlor, and as you could probably tell, I am a bit of a football romantic. So if there is one club I would love to have remain in the Premier League, it is Leeds United, just for the historical fabric that they bring. I'm also, I will admit, a big fan of Jesse Marsch. I've watched this guy from close up for a long time. I've spoken to him numerous times. And there is something about him, and it's hard to explain what it is, but part of it is bravery and conviction. You know, he started his MLS career in Montreal, so he had to move his family to Montreal and learn French, which he did. After he left New York, he goes to Salzburg. He has to now learn German, which he did. Imagine that. Never mind football. In any job, how hard that would be, but this is football. You may recall the game at Anfield in the Champions League. They're down 3-bagel at halftime, and he gives that fire and brimstone speech, half in German, half in English. We're giving them too much respect. You got to get in their faces more. Sure enough, they come out, score 3 goals. It's 3-3, only for Liverpool to score late and win that game. But it earned him mad respect. And this is the thing about Jesse Marsch. There's something about him. Charisma, bravery, courage, belief. I don't know what it is. And he's going to need all of it in this job. I mean, you got to kind of feel a little bit for Marsh coming in after an absolute legend with his unique style, albeit was it sustainable? Look at his career as a manager, and, you know, that question can be asked. And I'd love to ask the Leeds players privately, did they like the man-to-man system he employed? I bet you the majority of them, especially the defensive ones, would say, nah, man-to-man kind of sucks. But still, all this Ted Lasso talk, it's got to be hard for him, just as it was for Bob Bradley at Swansea. And I wonder if there are Leeds fans who would have rather gone back down to the championship with Bielsa than have this change occur now at such a risky time. And by the way, don't ever call a Canadian an American. That's like calling a Kiwi an Aussie or an Englishman a Scot. Here we go with the Holy Trinity, the 3. But by the way, why are they watering this field so much? Did you notice in the second half there was a ball played and it was kicking up water? There was so much water on the field. Was Leeds trying to slow Aston Villa down? Anyway, it's the 3 big issues or moments that defined Leeds United 0, Aston Villa 3, starting with the key statistics. And look at those scenes of joy at Elland Road for the second straight year. Last year it was Anwar Al Ghazi. This year an ensemble cast. Once again, Villa taking it on the XG. It's the shots and the amount of shots on target this past week that has been really impressive. 15 attempts and 9 of them testing the Leeds goalkeeper. Accurate passes 83%, and once again, Aston Villa win a game in which they did not have the majority of possession. Quick honorable mention, as much as I do admire Jesse Marsch, he doesn't do himself any favors by the gear he's wearing. I mean, he looks like he's off to pick up his kids at ski lessons after school. And he needs to take the gigantic bullseye off his back to settle everybody down, because there's some panic in Yorkshire right now over this hire. And you don't want to kind of give off, well, this kind of vibe. Honorable mention, the captain, Tyrone Mings. I mean, here's a guy who was being targeted by the Leeds front press and also by the Elland Road faithful. I mean, imagine that. You're being picked on because they believe you've got a mistake in you. And early in the game, there were a couple of hiccups. I mean, this one went straight into touch, which gave the crowd more ammunition, but he remained mentally strong. And throughout the game, 3 out of 3 aerial duels, 4 recoveries, a blocked shot, duels 1, and he gets the rare center back to center back assist. Another honorable mention, and I tweeted this at halftime, I thought Jacob Ramsey was having a really hard time keeping Aston Villa in possession, and the stats did not back that up. 85% pass completion percentage, pretty good. Ground duels, not great, just over 50% won. But it felt to me like every time he was on the ball, he either didn't have an option, chose the wrong option, ran into a cul-de-sac, or could not connect with the pass. And listen, he's 20. There are going to be peaks and valleys for all young players. What young players do tend to do sometimes, though, is take inventory and dwell on mistakes or moments. And the best way sometimes to play out of those is to keep playing. And maybe Steven Gerrard knows something about his mental makeup. Like, is it riskier to drag him and replace him right now than it is to leave him on and let him work it out? Because that is for sure going to build confidence in this kid. And what you lose with Jacob Ramsey is the incredible volume, the exertion, the capacity that he puts in, seemingly without breaking a sweat. And my final honorable mention, Philippe Coutinho, or Coutinho. In Portuguese, it is Coutinho, and I'm trapped between the pronunciations. I know it drives people crazy, but there you go. And he would be in my top 3 every single show, which would get kind of boring after a while. But here's the thing. He draws opposition to him. They can't win the ball from him. And he's so technically gifted that he then finds the players who now have wide open space all around him. That's his shtick, and he proved it once again. And by the way, if you believe the rumors, it sounds like Aston Villa is very committed to making him permanent this summer, which is a wonderful piece of news. Big issue or moment number 3, the return of Coutinho. Oh, man. Coutinho. Last week, he bends with the outside of his right foot a ball right onto a plate for Coutinho to set up goal number 2 against Southampton. And this time he puts it in the top corner on a day when Ezri Konsa was available. Now, we never know what happens with these COVID protocols. Was it a false positive? Did it affect his training, his fitness, or any of those things? But a lot of people were saying he comes right back into the side. He's our best defender. And lo and behold, again, Callum Chambers does not put a foot wrong and then scores an absolute banger, which is the perfect scenario for Steven Gerrard. Great competition at that position. Now, I would fully expect that there's going to be some rotation heading into the West Ham game on Sunday, only because of how fast that game comes around, less than 72 hours after Leeds. And, Ezri Konsa for Callum Chambers might be a logical one, except for a couple of things. I mean, first of all, central defenders have far less of a stressful load than other positions on the park. And there's also something to this, don't mess with a winning side. After all, if Callum Chambers was dragged for the game on Sunday, he could easily go to the manager and say, Gaffer, 2 games, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, big assist versus Southampton, and a banger of a goal against Leeds. What have I done wrong? Number 2, Ings things. Yes, neither of Villa's front men hit the score sheet today, but Danny Ings looks like a free man again. He's learned how to play off of Coutinho. He's learned how to combine with Watkins. You notice they're not getting in each other's way all the time anymore. They are developing a very interesting chemistry. And despite not scoring, he had a direct hand in both the 1-0 and 2-0 goals. The goal of Coutinho's, he makes a very subtle piece of movement that is totally intentional and leads to Coutinho having all sorts of time to step into it. Cash gets the ball out wide. It's a very slow ball, by the way. Ings puts his arm up, asking for it, steps in like he's going to play it, which freezes the defender and allows little Phil to bang in his 4th goal of the season already. But for the most important moment of the game, let's talk about the ball that Danny Ings plays for Matty Cash. I love a player who can contribute greatly to a game without necessarily scoring, even though we know that Danny Ings is tidy and ruthless in the box. This has nothing to do with pace or power. This has to do with spatial awareness and precision and high game IQ. This goal reminded me of the switch he played to Leon Bailey at home to Everton, which made it 3-0 and basically killed that game off as well. He immediately clocks the fact that Cash is open on that far side and drops it on a dime, and that's it, dusted. So effectively, Danny Ings in this week has 1 goal and basically 4 assists if you count how he dummied the ball for Coutinho. And the number 1 big issue or moment that defined Leeds 0, Villa 3, Mateusz Kaszki. Now, I'm sure that I'm not the only one that questioned whether or not Matty Cash could progress from the Championship and then from a very credible first year in the Premier League. The knock was always decision-making and the final ball in the front third. Well, I think we're seeing right before our very eyes how extra coaching is paying off with this player, and I believe he's getting a lot of extra coaching, and look at the results, which speaks to something very important. It speaks to his character. This guy is not satisfied with his current form. He wants to progress. He wants to achieve. He wants to always get better. And that is exactly what you want from an athlete. And I also find it humorous, Steven Gerrard revealing that Matt Cash is constantly coming to him about his stats. In fact, Cash knows more about his stats than the stats people know about his stats, which tells me that they're hitting targets. They're setting targets for him, and he's meeting them, and he's coming and saying, well, look, I'm doing all these now. These are very good signs for him. He sets up Philippe Coutinho for the 1-0 goal, and then he takes the dagger and plunges it straight into the heart of Jesse Marsch, sending blood gushing out all over his Levi's 501 jeans. And it was a composed finish after a very tidy cutback. A lot of defenders there would have panicked, and so make it 3 goals to add to his 3 assists on the season. And isn't it interesting that this form is occurring right now, not long after the rumors linking him to Atletico Madrid, which would represent Champions League football for the guy, even though La Liga would be a definite step down from the Premier League. But when a legend and a fiery character like Diego Simeone says, that's the guy I want for my team, even if you're perfectly happy where you are, how could that not inspire you and make you want to keep getting better? Now, I'm starting to wonder if, in addition to Coutinho this summer, Villa should think about tying down Matt Cash to a longer-term contract, maybe making Kessler Hayden the heir apparent, the understudy being groomed in behind him, because you don't want to always have to be turning over your squad and finding replacement players. And frankly, Matt Cash has really improved his game defensively, in addition to what he's doing at the other end of the park now. We saw it twice in this game, 2 sliding desperation tackles that nullified decent opportunities as he was covering for his center backs. Plus, he's running past people. When I first heard that rumor about Atletico and I saw the dollar figure that was rumored, I thought you'd take that in a heartbeat. You're almost doubling your money on this guy. But as I said earlier, you can't just keep turning your squad over. And quite frankly, we don't know what the ceiling is for Matt Cash, because over the last 3 years, he has shown consistent progression. Where is the limit on this guy? And one final thing, and it may seem like a little thing, but I think it's important. Steven Gerrard even brought it up in the lead up to this game, and that's body language. More upright, positive, confident, crisp passing with purpose. Players like John McGinn willing to have a go with their right foot, or Callum Chambers from outside the penalty area. Sure, it doesn't hurt having a magician in your lineup like Philippe Coutinho, but let's give a little bit of credit to the manager too, because after the Watford loss, when it felt like the world was caving in on Aston Villa, Steven Gerrard and his staff did a reset. They changed some of their routines, more social bonding time. And ever since, things have totally changed. And with a comprehensive win comes improvement in our subcategories that we're following this season, including the record away from Villa Park, which now improves to 18 points out of a possible 42. Was that a set-piece goal? The 3-0 goal by Callum Chambers. Ball over the top. Mings touches it back, top corner. It was a first phase. Let's give it to Austin McPhee. No goals for Watkins and Ings, but lots of contributions. And against the bottom 6, 14 from 27 points now, and another clean sheet for Emi Martinez. Make it 3 in a row for 9 on the year. And so Aston Villa finished Thursday in 9th place in the Premier League with 2 legitimate, bona fide top 6 sides waiting in the wing, starting with West Ham United on Sunday in London. I thought last year when Villa went there, it was one of their better games. They had a penalty missed. Watkins, he was offside on a VAR decision, and really West Ham scored on 2 of their only really great chances that they created. And they lost in Sevilla, did West Ham on Thursday. That means only one win in the last 6, which is very unhammers-like right now. And Aston Villa has some wind in their sails. There's some momentum, some excitement. We're not going into this game with trepidation. We're going in with hope. We're going in to have a go. Is there going to be rotation? Will Aston Villa finally get over the hump and beat one of these top 6 sides? Let's savor this first. And until the weekend, be well, enjoy it, and up the mighty Villa.